was watching this video of a guy who was talking about how he was getting ready to die because he had cancer, and then it escalated, and very quickly he went from being more or less okay to being a couple days away from death in a week or so. And what was amazing about this video was how peaceful and kind and positive he was. Imagine that you're making a video to say goodbye to everybody, and you know that you're getting your affairs in order, you're finishing up, and then you're going to be dead in probably about 2 days. And to have this good attitude, to just talk about life in a relaxed, positive way, to say good things about other people, and to just kind of act like it's another normal day. You're just doing your thing, you're doing what you got to do, you're getting your affairs in order, and you're wishing everybody well. He made this 7-minute video and checked out. And it was super positive, super motivational. And it reminded me of how important it is for us to have a good attitude in our lives. Because in the end, we're not going to be judged on a basis of what kind of a job we had, or what kind of a house we had, or what our level of achievement in any particular category of life was. If anyone judges us and says that we left a positive legacy, we did good in the world, it's going to be because we had a really positive attitude toward our life, and we lived in a way that made other people's lives better while we were living. And that's not about achievement. You know, I've said this in reference to video games and MMOs in particular. There's this desire to chase progression, to chase completion, to try to level up, to try to get to the end game, to try to unlock that final achievement and be able to say that you 100%ed something. But the truth is that that does not create satisfaction. That does not create fulfillment. If anything, it creates the opposite, because it puts us into a mindset of feeling like we need to get somewhere that we aren't. And then if we get there, we'll be in a better place. But what if your life is over tomorrow? Then are you satisfied with where you're at? And that's where I think it's important for us to have the perspective in our lives to realize that it's all about the journey. It's not about a specific end result. And we can add a lot of peace in our lives by letting go of those things which create the belief in our minds that we have to get to a certain finishing point before we're going to be good. When we say, well, if I can just get to this particular level, then I'll be able to say that I beat the game. Well, we're always on that treadmill, always chasing whatever the next progression point is, and we think our lives are going to be meaningful at that point if we can reach the pot of gold. And yet, that's not really how it works. If you want to be successful in life, you have to just get to the point where you're happy with the life you've been given. Where you're willing to say, I'm having a good time today, and I'm good with everything I got accomplished in my life. And if I don't accomplish anything else in my life, that's okay, because I don't need to achieve any specific benchmark. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have some insight into the future and make plans in a rational way. It's just you shouldn't look at the future as where your sense of fulfillment is, because the future is not something that is in your control. The present is. And while we can have long-term plans, and we should have long-term plans, because if you're going to potentially live for another 50 or 60 years or something, then you should have a plan for what you're going to do with that time. You don't want to be a person who doesn't make any effort to plan for the future at all. But you don't want to be always getting sucked into things that convince you to be spiritually discontent. And that's really what I'm getting at. It's kind of like this game. I have said I like Albion Online because it doesn't have quests. There's no objective. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't set an objective for yourself. Doesn't mean you can't set a goal. Whatever that might be. But there's not any end game. There isn't any sense that I need to do something specific in order to get to the point where I'm having a good time with the game. I can just play it because I think it's a cool game. And if I never play this game again in my life, that's okay too. I'm not gonna miss out on anything. I'm just enjoying the experience as I have it. And in that, there's peace. There's peace in knowing that you don't have to prove anything to the world. You don't have to prove anything to yourself. And when you let go of all those treadmills, those artificial things that put you into the mindset that you have to keep on grinding to get to a certain end goal, then that frees you up to do things that you just enjoy. To not be always raging against the darkness, always saying things aren't going fast enough, things aren't going well enough. And just be chill with the life you've been given. The truth is that puts you in a much better position to be inspirational to other people, because you're going to be more inclined to accept other people the way they are if you learn to master the art of accepting yourself as you are. We tend to project into other people the same basic things that we put ourselves through. So if we don't think we're good enough, we tend to look at other people and think that they're not good enough too. If we feel like our lives aren't blessed and filled with abundance, then we look at the world and we see the world as a miserable and hopeless place. And so it all comes down to understanding that your life is complete exactly as it is, without any further additions or modifications. And that doesn't mean you don't do stuff. It just means that whether you have another 50 years or another 50 minutes to live, either one, it's okay. And life is filled with a lot of good things. So try not to be super determined to chase progression. Just enjoy the game exactly as it is in this moment. Let that be enough. Till next time, thank you for watching.